That was a
Oh,
gift.
that's really cool. Show it. Show it.
Gift.
Let me see.
Gift from the YouTubers. Beautiful little angelic beings. Karen. Rankin. Karen, you sweet thing.
That was very nice of them.
The kidneys. I wonder if she had that put on there. That's pretty neat.
I like that.
I like that. You know, more people need to think about their kidneys. That's my little drink of hot toddy. What the hell is a hot toddy anyway? I never did.
I have no idea. Anyway, have a great time.
All right. You have a peach.
A peach?
Peach of a time, man. And Mickey rules.
Yes,
What the heck is this folder for? I just found another chart right here in front of me.
Get to it after.
After. Okay.
Have fun.
Oh, have fun. I always have fun talking to all of you beautiful souls. I always do. It's a time in the movement of creation, maybe, that, you know, love and respect and all that start coming into play. It's needed out there. So hello, everyone. Welcome to continuing saga of videos. And we're going to do question and answers here, so I hope I can answer all your questions. And if you have something serious that is very serious, that's fatal, or you're really hurting bad, you've just got to call in the clinic here and have someone help you. Not wait on me answering your questions. I'm doing my best, and one day we'll be caught up. Maybe. But there's so much information, and I know all these videos are kind of a pain in the butt. And blessings to the gentleman, and love to him who has been doing the table of contents. That's massive right there. I mean, you guys are just I was just telling someone the other day, it's like being able to walk in heaven or another world, to have all of you and your love and support. And I know some of you are getting burned out sometimes. And listen, if you're hitting this hard and you need a break, don't be shy to take a little break. I am, you know, I've told you cases where I've given them chicken noodle soup, but these are high cancer cases that I was running on all raw, running on grape fasts, and it can rat you out. You know, these are frequencies one's not accustomed to. Self-discipline, I might add, is something man is not accustomed to. So all these things are essential to go after some of these deeper issues. And when you really understand what's up, how simple it is, number one, but how devastating acids can be in your body and in your thinking and in your emotions, and how vital it is to detox, to let go, whether physical, emotionally, or mentally, so it frees you up. You know, put that mind over in the corner with the ego in another corner. Keep your emotions under check, and if anything, use that to inspire beauty, love, and creativity. Nothing like that. So, this was a question by Mike. So I think Mike emailed this in here, but I was going to read this because it says, I have another question for Robert or the staff. I see that Robert uses black walnut hulls and butternut bark in the Parasite M formula. I'm wondering if he ever used pecan hulls. And he goes on to say that pecan hulls have similar actions as walnut hulls. You know what? I haven't. This is that outer green inner bark, so to speak, of the walnut hull. But I'm very familiar with pecans, and tell you the truth, it's hard to say. I don't know. Never used them in a clinical study. If you had someone with worms and you knew they had worms, you could give them that crushed up, ground up, powdered up. And you would want to start on the minor side first. You know, like probably just one constituent like that, probably no more than 200 or 300 milligrams, which would be about a half a capsule. And see what kind of action you would have. Muscle test first to make sure the body would accept or not accept that, and then play with that. And there's so much to learn. I'd like to inspire those that want to get a little degree of some sort, get an herbal degree. Naturopath is too controversial. It states don't get it, so you're fighting all the time. Then you got naturopathic medicine now that's entered the front from allopathic infusion, if you will. So naturopathy, true naturopathy. Let me get something real quick. Well, sorry about that. These are two books. That's Maria Jensen. These are two books. And here's the third one. This is ODOC. These are from Benedict Luss. And I just hope I still have them out there in the storage. Those are prized books. These are the original works of Benedict Luss, who coined the word naturopathy. He started the American Naturopathic Association. I was a member of that back in the early 70s. It was just too bad. You know, a lot of things happen. I think, you know, you get a lot of information given, and it's hard to maintain the truth of that information. This is why I thought if we have millions of you guys that get it, it doesn't matter if a few of us are taken out. They can't stop us. And the world will have its joy and its happiness, because at this time, nothing ever happens for no reason. So at this time, it is important to bring this information out for the humans on this planet. And you've just got to realize that. And realize you're not from here. You're only touch and go. You're only visiting here. Enjoying the scenery or not. And playing the game of creation. So it is not where you're from. It's not who you are. It's the game you play. The soap opera, if you will. The drama, if you will. Dear Steve Morse, my name is Marta, and I'm writing to you from Italy. Hello, Italy. Hello, Marta. I would like to express my deep gratitude. Oh, thanks, sweetheart. Esteem I have for... Oh, thanks, sweetie. I appreciate that. I am 30 years old, and I've been eating a predominantly raw diet for the last 3 years, with some days eating only fruits and other days fruits till evening, and then a salad followed by some kind of grain, rice, or pasta. That's not bad. That's pretty dang good. After postponing a real commitment so far, my plan is to start a 100% fruit diet from January. Wow, that's pretty good. No, she made a comment, I know I've been lazy. No, you haven't been lazy. That, you realize how ahead of the pack you guys are. You got to understand this. Most people still today, even though raw food is a renaissance, has opened up and there's raw food chefs everywhere and more raw food restaurants, you still see a huge part of the population extremely ignorant about living foods and the power of that. So all of you guys are in the top-notch souls that have awakened and open to this information. If you're not open to something and it's at a level that you're not ready for, the door won't open for you. And so that's why you can't judge. You'll have people, for you Facebook, you have people come in, they'll do their best, and then they'll fade off for a while. They'll be back. Just relax, because it is tough. One, self-discipline, and two, this is a growth. This is a growth on all levels. Some souls enjoy where they are. Okay, that's okay. I don't judge any of that. Does not matter. Everyone is on their own journey, where they want to go, what they want to accomplish. For those that like the ultimate ride, Stay on board, baby. But, you know, it's just, there's all levels. And sometimes we get burnt out. We need to take a week off. We need to take 2 weeks off. If you've been long-term on herbs, go 5 days on, 2 days off. Every once in a while, give yourself a week off. Every once in a while, cheat if you have to. Believe this or not, it brings a little balance into the mix, but don't lose your self-discipline and your focus by doing those things. Don't let that be your doorway to run out. Be that doorway to take a breath, get collected, and keep on going. Because you can never get enough. You can never detox deep enough. I've seen that myself and then I get off on a tangent, either Indian food or whatever, and then I go, and I pull myself back. Tough way to go. And especially when you're doing raw predominantly for as long as I have. You know, you have things pull you off. You have your mates, your significant others, your whatevers, your traveling, your availabilities. I mean, there's a whole host of things. So you do your best, but we don't judge. No need to judge. We're all just working the bodies back to Wellville, but you're so much more than your human body. Don't get fixated too much on the human body, because you can get too body conscious and start feeling all your problems. And I've talked about that before on the videos. As you begin to clean out these acids, you start to feel energy. You start to become aware of your nervous system. You can literally sink into your body and feel the blood moving. So, you know, you can get real sensitive, really awake. I had to pull away from that a little bit because it was too intense. I felt a little ache. I said, oh, what's that? I felt a little pain over here. I didn't understand detoxification at the level that we're talking about here, because none of it's out there. You had fasting clinics and the natural hygienic people, but there wasn't the information being shared to the folk on exactly what you're doing, where you're going, what's you know, this whole process. You guys were involved in a whole clinical understanding of how you take people out of Hellville and bring them to Wellville. How you take all kinds of mutations and damage and acidosis and bring them out of that into Wellville. That has not been well understood ever on this planet. So before, it's been mainly trying to attempt that with the raw foods, up and down with the fruits or the vegetables and all this carrot juice or grape juice, things like that, different opinions, different ideas. But in reality, all you have to do is play this game yourself, and you'll see the difference between vegetable matter and fruit matter. It's not a question of opinions, it's a question of experience. And when you have experience in these fields, those are the people you want to chummy up with. And I'm giving you every bit of experience that comes to my consciousness, although there's been so many years with so many cases that I forget a lot of things that you guys will pull out of me through the time here. And, you know, it's just the way the storage causal part of the mind works. This individual has 2 questions I've been meaning to ask you for a very long time that I hope won't take too much of your time. Okay, number 1. I'm experiencing big cavities in 3 of my teeth. I have no pain since I've started using a black walnut tincture daily, hoping it would stop them from spreading. But they are spreading really quickly, and I believe 2 teeth now will need to be extracted because the holes are so big. I can store food in them. No kidding. While maybe one can still be saved, I don't trust dentists, and I also only had the money to pay for mercury fillings. I think the composite fillings aren't expensive, honey. You don't go to holistic dentists. Most people can't afford them. I mean, I'm not negating holistic dentists. I had some top holistic dentists from New York come down one time, loved what we were doing, wanted me to be on the board, and I just never went that way. I mean, I appreciate that level, but you've got to have money to work with that level. That's just the way it is. They're not cheap. And that's the thing that used to just upset me badly, because it has a natural label on it. People charge more. That used to just upset me to the max. We should be cheaper. My office appointments have, if you look over the years at my office appointments and the cost of the herbs, what we sell them for, you will be amazed and how we are the one company that's kept our profits so low, kept our prices down, even my fees. There's naturopaths that think their you-know-what doesn't stink, and they get, $500 an hour. One female naturopath up here in Sarasota charges $50 per question that you want to ask her. It's like, what? That's what I mean, guys, about the spiritual element. The spiritual element is the love element, is the caring element, is the non-ego element, is the element of I see you and I as one. And I'm going to help you, a plant, an animal. I'm going to help anything I can because it's a part of me. And that's how we have to live. And these people raking people for natural things, I'm disgusted in all fields. It's just disgusting. We'll create our own field. And we'll create our own field out of integrity, honesty, truth, all the facts of what you would expect out of godly people. Could reverse the decay. I talked about this in the last video I shot earlier this morning. I would get Heal All Tea and start washing my mouth out, then finishing off with baking soda. I would also check my parathyroid gland and make sure make sure your fingernails are strong and hard, make sure you don't have any spider veins or varicose veins, make sure everything looks good, you don't have wrinkled skin, because let me tell you, get some pH papers and test your mouth, because you're going to find your mouth to be extremely acidic. Well, that means your whole head is acidic. And that means nothing ever good comes, because you got the eyes, and then you got brain, and then you got, the central part of the autonomic. I mean, it's a systemic problem. You can't just have acidosis in one place, although in our last video I was talking about these genetically weakened areas definitely are much highly compromised lymphatically speaking. So, yeah, you work a little hard on those genetically weakened areas. But with that said, you're still going after the same thing no matter what. Whether you realize the genetic weakness or not, doesn't matter. It's nice to play that game. You got the eyes, you can see your genetics, you have an understanding of where you're weak and strong, cellularly, where your fluid of the lymphatic is involved. That's the beauty of iridology. Every science should be grabbing that iridology and going, look what we have. This is one of the greatest tools to see internally. See why a CAT scan can't pick up pain. See why these issues here. See the lymphatic system. Boy, that's a biggie. We don't have anything medically to see the lymphatic system. That's the problem. And that's why it's left out all the time. X-rays can't see it unless it gets real dehydrated. And that fluid gets hardened. And you start to form a mass or a fibroid, and you start to see an image. Yeah, that's not good, is it? Because that means you're extremely dehydrated and that your tissues and your fluids are hardening. Nothing good ever come of that one. So again, this is a process of getting your kidneys and adrenals up online, filtering. As your kidneys are filtering, you'll start to see your inflammation, your pain, your swelling, your tumors go away. And that's important that you work on these systems in all those ways. But for the mouth issue, Heal All Tea, gargle with it. Cut it down a little bit because it's a little strong set up the way it is, mainly for douching. But when you're taking it internally or using it as a mouthwash, you want to cut it down just a little bit. Say 1 teaspoon of herb per 4 cups of water, something like that. And make it gentle on your mouth. At the same time, check your pH. I think we sell pH strips for $10 for a whole thing, or I'm sure you can get them anywhere. And check your saliva and your urine. Play a little bit with your own self in that way so you can appreciate yourself and that you love your bodies. You're stuck with them for now, so you make them healthy and happy. So I would do that. Start cleaning those gums, start pulling these acids out, finish off with a sodium bicarbonate, aluminum-free, wash, or do a toothpaste like that. Check up the parathyroid gland. Might want to consider a bones formula or something just to give you more calcium and more potential for healing of hardened areas like that, dense areas. Clean up the bowels, because you got to also I want you to think of something else. Let's go back to digestion, absorption, and utilization. What role could that play in tooth decay? Well, think about this. If you're not absorbing calcium, it doesn't matter if your parathyroid gland is producing parathormone or not, because you can't utilize what you're not absorbing. So again, then you have all your other minerals that are steroid based or needed a steroid for metabolism or utilization. So you've got all those mineral corticosteroids to think about. That's the adrenals. Everybody's down with that. So you've got to start thinking about holistic and what holistic really means. And that means whole body. So when you're going after the mouth, go after what it's connected to. The GI tract. Stomach, the esophagus, the stomach, the bowels, the intestines, small and large. You got to clean that sewer system up, because your mouth is just the other end of it. All right? Then you got to realize that all tissue has sewage running through them. So that's the interstitial fluid. That's kidney filtration. You're going after the kidneys. Of course, you're going after the adrenals anyway for utilization. And then you're going after the parathyroid again to make sure you're utilizing what you're absorbing. And all these things. So this is why when someone's just talking up here, you're still going to clean everything down below, because this sits on top of everything. And you have digestion, absorption, utilization, and what? Elimination. So we're having to deal with elimination problems before we can get digestion, absorption, and utilization. We're back at elimination. We're back at the rear end again. But we understand the front end of the donkey. We don't start at the butt end of the donkey. We know the front end. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head that can help that. And I'll say this: if you got holes in your teeth, you are really acidic, and that's scary. Because you got your sinus bone, you got all these bones, and that's another thing. If you can get a cold and flu-like symptom, please beg for one, or you candle, use 3-lung tea. Try to get your sinuses clean too, because if you're blocked here, you're also blocked all in the head with sinuses too. Might even around the neck and stiff necks and all that. That'd be your kidneys. So all this is impactful to your teeth, honey. And next time, don't do any more amalgams. Get your well, they call them porcelain, but those are just as cheap. As far as I'm knowing, they call them composite. The second question is very delicate, and it's about a dear friend of mine. Okay. She chose to have an eye laser surgery on both her eyes 5 years ago because of her extremely bad eyesight, which kept worsening since childhood. Apart from the technical mistakes of the operation, which left her with more serious eyesight complications, these are the cases that the public doesn't hear about, as the poor souls that it didn't work on. Since then, she has lost the ability to produce enough moisture in her eyes. Oh, no. So she is obligated to consistently use pharmacy eye drops several times a day and at least 5 times per night. And she is in constant pain because of the extreme dryness. Okay. So here's the thing. If there's damage, they must have blocked the tear ducts or some way cut or... So you have to think 2 things here. Causative factors of why the vision was losing, and how do you fix mistakes, all right, or trauma to tissue. The same applies for both sides, because when you start to realize that you lose your vision out of acidosis, how it affects the optic nerve, how it affects the retina, that's all individual. That's all just depends on weaknesses of genetics and blah, 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 but it does affect that. So you have to start down the road of addressing why you were losing your vision in the first place. And you notice how this is a process to lose vision? Because of 2 things. One, radiation is bad. Look at the radiation from TVs. And I feel bad because I have a big screen TV, and it's like, it's not a 60 or anything like that, but it's pretty big, and I can feel that. And so you got radiation. I don't like computers at all, there's tons of radiation in them, and listen to some of the YouTubers and radiation exposure. So you've got that to worry about with the eyes. So I'd stay away from all cell phones, all computers, things like that with her. Don't watch TV way off to the side somewhere. Have a smaller screen TV. We use AC currents here, which is alternating currents. There is a thing you can get to change them to DC a little bit. That helps with radiation. So there's a lot of things perhaps you can do with that. I would use the eye wash, definitely. Get the eye wash, get an eye cup, and wash your eyes out 2, 3, 4 times a day with this eye wash. This eye wash promotes blood and lymph flow in the eyes. The dryness, of course, is further evidence of dehydration or damage to tear ducts, blah, 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 blah. So you really got to get your lymphatic system moving. This is vital. This goes back to kidneys. This goes back to the adrenals, but I'll bet you in your GI tract as well with you. So you want to clean up your bowels as well. You're going after a big deal here. It's called Visioplex. It has raw eye tissue in there. It has bilberry. It has tons of vitamins and stuff, but it's all geared to the eye. I would definitely do something like that in this type of trauma to the tissue there. At the same time, upper circulation, brain and nerve. Upper circulation, brain and nerve. You're going to push blood more aggressively up there, even though you're doing it topically, you're going into the brain with upper circ and brain and nerve. You're enhancing the nervous systems with the optic nerve as part of, and you're getting more blood to cells, which is doing the same thing. So you are doing all kinds of things that way. You're getting your kidneys filtered, getting your adrenals, get your steroids up. Steroids will fight acids. So you've got all that sort of thing that you've got going on, and you'll get this. And just get on a total raw food. And this is where I would do totally fruits and berries. You have all the eye flavonoids with fruits and berries. Get on a high diet of this, and she'll save her eyesight and she'll save herself. And do all those things. I would. If it was me, that's what I would be doing to myself to regenerate my eye tissue there. Apparently her eye nerves are not responding anymore, so she can't produce enough tears. I don't know if that would be a legitimate statement. She could either be highly lymphatic block, which blocks tear ducts, which just a strong onion, chewing on horseradish root can really start to open up those tear ducts. And it could be they're just clogged with blood or clogged with lymph, and they're just gotten hardened that way, and they need to be opened up. There's that you have to look at. It might not be any nerve damage at all. Matter of fact, I wouldn't say nerve damage when it comes to moisture in the body. I would say that's more of a lymphatic issue and maybe a damage to tear ducts or something, or just a stagnation of fluid in that area. You're already she's highly dehydrated already to have that problem. So you have to think about all those things together with that. According to some recent opinion of certain eye surgeons, she must have suffered a severe type of conjunctivitis. But conjunctivitis, that's acidosis. This is just acidosis. The surgery's acidic. The laser's acidic. It's all burn / kill. And yes, it's helped a lot of people. Okay, but some no. So you have to fix this. And so with saying that you have inflammation in there, it's just saying acidosis in there. And you could having a hard time moving lymph post-surgery is no different than why you needed the surgery. Think about that. The reason we need surgery is the lymph and acidosis. But we're going in, but surgeries are necessary. Some are very necessary. But we're going in a highly acidic zone or medium or terrain, and we're creating more acidosis. We're killing cells. We're chopping up cells. So the damage that the surgeon creates with his attempt to help restore tissue has to be cleaned up. Who cleans up the mess? Surgeon doesn't clean up all the cells and damage that they've done. They wash it out with some normal saying blah, 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 blah. But you've got a lot of lymph issues to deal with. Your lymph system has to clean up this mess. And I submit to you that was her problem in the first place. So now she's even seeing a worse case of that. So if you do what I'm saying here, I think you'll see quite a total change around in her, which would have made her not an ideal candidate for an operation. And they say it might be the reason why she also lost her nerves' ability to react. I'm not going to go that far and agree with them on that nerve responsibility to react. I mean, unless your pupils are fixed and, you're just totally blind and everything else. I don't know if I can say that. But let's say they're correct. All right? Can you rebuild the optic nerve? Can you rebuild the myelin sheaths? Can you rebuild the nervous system? You better say yes. It might be the reason why she also lost her ability. If they don't heal, she will suffer the pain for the rest of her life. Oh, yeah. And this is acid pains. It's all acidosis. That's why she feels the pain. There's only two sides of chemistry, and everything is steeped in chemistry. There's like nothing there. It's total chemistry there. Except it's dominant on the acid sides. Why the pain? But this goes to why she had to have this surgery, or she selected to have the surgery in the first place. Go back, guys, at their lymph system again. And this just made her lymph system more complicated, more involved locally. And she's got to start and clean her whole body out and get her lymph system filtering out of her head. And then all the restoration of hydration. And so the moisture will return, the pain will leave, the nerves will repair, any tissue damage will repair. But I suggest she get on with it sooner than later. But these are excellent cases right here. It's an excellent case. This has revolutionized her life on many levels, both in a positive way and in a negative way. If she had the money, I would give them to fly to you and make... She doesn't need to fly here. She doesn't need the money. That's the thing, guys. I've got a phone. Excuse me. I've got Skype. We've got staff. We've got YouTube videos. We have Facebook. We've got so many sources and other practitioners around the world willing to help. We are getting bigger and bigger. So there should be help for everybody. No one should have to suffer. And so she doesn't need the money. She needs to, I want to do this. Once she gets the, I want to do this, immediately change the diet. Immediately work yourself up to an all fruit and berry and melon diet. Even if it takes you a month or so, but get going. 100% raw, I would. We're talking if this was neural damage. I think it's lymphatic issues. Could be some nerve damage. I think there was nerve suppression and maybe some nerve damage in the beginning. You'll rebuild that. But you must get the dryness, the dehydration, the lymph moving in the head area, or it's also going to spill over in, honey, where did I park the car? Dementia, Alzheimer's. This isn't just about the optic nerves and the eyes. This is also about the central nervous system. And I might add, back here with the parasympathetic, that's her dizziness, equilibrium, vertigo. This could be creeping on her too. I mean, this is all about just what you guys know it to be. Lymph, acids, even from surgery. That's an acid experience. They're not going in with alkaline experiences. Destruction of tissue is an acid experience. I'd like her to hear from her whether it's possible to regenerate those nerves. Not only regenerate the nerves, but rebuild all this. I really apologize for my English and for not being able to explain this matter. I think you did a beautiful job. What are you talking about? If you need more specific information, no. I'm sorry again for my English. You have to be sorry. This is Marta. Sweetie, I really appreciate the letter. I think that's a real important case. That's an important case for all those that are on the Facebook as well, because you're seeing more and more of the dry eyes, the burning, the dryness of the body, the dehydrated bodies, because we're in chronic and degenerative levels, guys. That's why they need you. We are at these highly advanced levels. You can't play around with pharmaceuticals and treating symptoms anymore. Not only is it archaic, it's killing too many people. And you have to wake up and understand what chronic and degenerative, what all these levels mean, where we're at as a species with that. And you guys are so more advanced in your understanding than graduated Olopaths. It's amazing. Drastic changes need to be made. We do not say. Okay, my name is Carmen. Hey, Carmen. I want to thank you for good. Oh, thanks, sweetheart. I appreciate that. Oh, thanks, honey. My name is Carmen. I am 49 years old. For 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with hernia in my lower back. Hernia in the lower back, huh? I am overweight and I have long episodes of severe depression. Stop right there. You guys on Facebook already know what's going on, don't you? Right there, she gave two of the biggest clues of a gland that's down that ever was. Any medical doctor should go, I know your problem right off. That should have known that right off. Not that you can fix it with pharmaceuticals, but at least you know the problem. So, dear one, you're definitely talking about parathyroid. And with the weight, you're talking adrenals and thyroid. So you got three glands already I know of that are down in you. Your adrenals, your thyroid, and your parathyroid. I can just tell you with just those sentences you wrote there. Depression comes out of calcium utilization problems, parathyroid. All you psychiatrists, parathyroid for depression, not antidepressants. All right? Get her calcium back. She had a hernia. What's the relationship between depression and hernias? Calcium utilization or not. And that's exactly the thing here. She's getting herniated. Well, that means her connective tissue is getting thin. So as she's 49, she gets older, she'll start wrinkling in the skin. She could get a prolapsed uterus or bladder. You can go on and on with that. Spider veins, varicose veins, brittle fingernails, the whole line of things. And of course, she fights the weight. So there's the adrenals with the parathyroid or with the thyroid. You can get pretty big because thyroid controls rate of metabolism, where your adrenals are metabolism. I'm worried about long episodes of severe depressions. Poor thing. Fatigue. All right, so there's the adrenals and thyroid. Muscle pain, acidosis from the adrenals and kidneys not filtering the lymph. So she's already backed up on here to have the thyroid and all that going on. Swollen feet, kidney failure. 49 years old. She's losing her kidneys already at 49 years old. So she's not filtering. That's why the muscle pain. That's why the swollen feet. So, honey, and then the adrenals are down, which sits on top of the kidneys. There's your fatigue, and probably low. And then now moving up toward high blood pressure, sugar metabolism problems. So you'll start running into type 2s, perhaps. That sort of thing. Bags under my eyes. That's her kidneys. So right there, she's telling us her whole problems right here. And there's not a practitioner out there that shouldn't be able to sit there and tell you just what I told you. Just from her telling me her symptoms, I, as a practitioner, should be right on top of that going, depression, calcium, parathyroid, hernia, same gland, calcium utilization, low energy, adrenals, and thyroid. Then you've got overweight. Definitely adrenals first, thyroid on top. More conclusive evidence. Parathyroid, thyroid, twins. Now you got your adrenals, bags under the eyes, kidneys, hernias in the back. So you start to see her endocrine glands are down. Might be interesting to see if she has pituitary down as well. She would know by her menses, her monthly cycles. If they were irregular or excessive bleeding, her pituitary's down, suppressing everybody else as well. That's where a nice iris picture would come in. When I wake up in the morning, I can't move properly in order to get up, so it takes time until I can stand. What system is that? If you said blood, you'd be wrong. It's lymph. When you're asleep at night, you're more sedentary. You're laying there, but your cells aren't taking a break. Your cells are continuing to metabolize. They're continuing to produce acids. So your body's building up acids through the night, except for some twitching and turning. There's not a lot of activity. So when you wake up in the morning, you got mucus in your eyes for those that have a lot of lymph problems. And you've got, you stiff and sore until you get everything moving again. Oh, now I'm doing better. That's the worst sign right there to show you're systemically very acidic and your lymph system is really backed up. And so she's just seeing that. Her body's going, I can't hardly move. I'm so acidic. So this girl needs some help. I have severe pain in my bones. Just saying, you've got to fix your parathyroid, sweetheart. This is key to your depression, key to the pain in the bones. You don't want to lose your bones. Connective tissue, that holds everything together. That's up for grabs too, sweetheart. And it feels like all the bones are on fire. And basically they are. That's what acidosis is. It burns. Think of drinking a Coke. It burns. We like to buy it and burn, don't we? I have cold feet, cold hands, and my blood pressure is extremely high. All right. So cold hands, cold feet, where are we going? Thyroid. So now we've got thyroid, lowering the body temperatures. Check your basal, sweetheart. I bet you're in the 96s, maybe even in the upper 95s. Hope not, but it's possible. So check your basal temperatures under your arm. Let's see where that is. Your blood pressure is really high because it's really low. So what you've got to do is get these kidneys, the bag under the eyes, the adrenals, all telling the story here. Once you fix these kidneys, you're get these kidneys filtering, your blood pressure will just go down just as beautiful as you please. So get those kidneys and adrenals fixed. You got to. Doctor gave me Provol, I'm not sure what that is, against the high blood pressure, and several different strong antidepressants. I send you off to Never Never Land, honey. I saw several doctors and they had no answer to my question concerning my high blood pressure. What? Well, I really already know that. I mean, it's a sad thing. And these are good people. There's a lot of great medical doctors out there. They just need to get with this level of understanding, and then there'll be superb medical doctors. Before I found your channel at the end of November, I was rushing to the hospital due to high blood pressure. 270 over 119. Holy moly. Holy moly. 270 should be about 120 to 130. 119 should be 60 to 70. Woo! Now, I want you to remember this, sweetheart. Are you swinging? Is this a high blood pressure 1 minute and then it's down toward normal the next? Do you see it swinging? Because this would make sense to me at this level that you're swinging. If you're swinging like that, and you kind of alluding here to kind of medical doctor trying to control this, gives me the impression that's swinging on you. If it is, that's not kidneys. Although I see your kidneys, this would be cerebellum. This would fit with everything that's going on up here with the parathyroid, thyroid, and maybe even the pituitary. So you really, if you get an episode of high blood pressure, get you a cold ice pack or something on the back of the head here, relax, have somebody do your neurolymphatics down your back and open that up. It's all tied to the kidneys and adrenals, still same, but the spot where the most issue is with the swinging side is cerebellum. Do you have a little lightheadedness? Do you get a little tight neck, stiff neck, shoulders, a little lightheadedness when you get up? That's the cerebellum. Vertigo problems. That's the cerebellum. And all MS has it. So these are areas that go right up the back. So do these neurolymphatic points, get your kidneys filtering. You got to get your adrenals up, get your head cleaned up, and get your parathyroid up. Get your parathyroid up, sweetheart, and you'll lose your depression. This is a very serious issue. And you're 49. If you've had kids, you better tell them before they start having kids, because their bones are not going to grow properly. There's a whole lot of problems from what they call growing pains. Oh, it's a nightmare. I thought that my time was due and that I was having a stroke. They gave me Thrombrol, which is a drug that would make the blood thinner. This happened after lunch. Oh my God. That I was taken to the hospital. I couldn't sleep at night. Aha! Aha! Now we're at another aha moment. What else did she just tell us? She couldn't sleep at night. Could be pressure. But what gland deals with your rest? Yes, pineal gland, third eye. So, we're up here with a lot of problems, aren't we? Well, we're up here with lymphatic problems. That's what we're up here with. And that tells me that her kidneys are down, her adrenals are down because she's fighting weight, blah, 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 and probably full of fungus too. So we've got to get this dear one fixed up. In the morning, doc said that they would have me under observation for some more days. Probably have insurance, right? In order to investigate more, but I said that I want to go home and consult another doctor. Took a cab. Wow. Went directly to a store and I bought myself a juicer. Smart woman. From that day, at the end of September this year, the 29th, I stopped drinking coffee. Good idea. I stopped eating poisoned food. Another good idea. And all the prescription drugs went to the trash can. Yeah, but if your blood pressure is that high, you gotta make sure you keep it into normal ranges. And if it's a swinging blood pressure, you've got to relax, work on the neural lymphatics, cold applique to the cerebellum, and this is will be very helpful in that. And relax, and be careful about too much exercise here. It is important to say that in all these years, I never took the prescribed antidepressants. Smart lady. A lot of people went into suicide with those. I only took 1 pill a day, Probol or whatever, to lower my very high blood pressure. This drug had also a diuretic effect, and I would feel pain in my lower back, or I would wake up with both my arms numbed. I don't know if I like that drug. I stopped taking those two, and the pain in my lower back got better. Jesus Christ. Well, you know what? That had a negative effect on the very kidneys that causes high blood pressure. Now, if you had consistently high blood pressure, definitely be your kidneys. And that would tell me that if you took a pharmaceutical and you felt pain in your kidneys didn't like it. I started with the green juices, and the next week I was astonished to see what I was carrying in my bowels. I felt like I was born again. I was light. No pain in my lower back. No pain in my shoulders. Aha! There's her pain in her shoulders, guys. Knew it. And I had so much energy that I could move mountains. The skin looked healthy, and the bags under my eyes were diminishing day by day. Good constitution. All right. After getting on the right path and during October 1st, found your channel, and I am doing a lot of research, and I am taking notes as it resonates perfectly with my inner being. Mine too, dear. And all of ours. We're all a family here. I am 100% raw, and since September 29th, I eat grapes, vitamin berries, chokeberries, never heard of those, blueberries, sea buckthorn, and lots of C vitamin juice, fruit juices. I am not filtering at all, but that's why you feel so stiff and tight, honey. But once you get filtering, you're going to feel all that stiffness and tightness come out of your body. My urine is like water, and I cannot get rid of the mucus in my throat. See? And you need to remember all this mucus is in the thyroid, in the parathyroid, in the sinuses. It's all in you, suppressing the function of cells. As you get all this mucus out, you're going to see mucus in your stools. And when your kidneys break loose, you're going to see mucus in your urine. Yoo-hoo! That's what we want. That's when you're going to start running more toward Wellville. The fact that you've done this and seen improvements tells me you've got some good constitution going, and you'll be able to move your body pretty quick through this. That's exciting. I wake up with my eyes with a lot of secretion, because your kidneys aren't filtering. It takes almost an hour to get rid from the mucus in my throat, and that only after I sit 15 minutes with a towel over my head under a bowl with hot infusion of chamomile tea. God, you're full of mucus, honey. You just let this stuff's just got to come out. And you just got to let this stuff just pour out and pour out and pour out. This is what I'm talking about. And this is what Arnold Ehret was talking about. People that are in clinical work are those that have the better opinions, because they're working on thousands of people. They get to see, they get to experience what's really reality is on all levels. It's one thing to have opinions and play with a little fasting and stuff on yourself. It's another to send thousands down that road and watch their experiences and become friends with everybody. It's just a beautiful thing here. And she's just really pulling out a mucus. The problem is we can have so much mucus in us, people wonder, where does that stuff all come from? And we can have copious amounts of this stuff. So you know what? You just keep letting it come out and letting it come out. But you got to get your kidneys filtering. 2 kidney formulas, an adrenal formula at the very least. I don't know if you're on herbs or anything, but boy, I would start going down that way, because you've got to get those kidneys opened up. Might be a long time with just foods. So I would really get going. You might try some fasting, but you're already getting enough mucus out right now. You don't want to accelerate it beyond your capacity to handle it. And that's the other thing you have to think about on the Facebook, guys, is their capacity to handle these higher levels of expectoration of all the mucus. It's like a mini sauna for the head. It's just what you need, though. And it'll clean these sinuses, it'll clean your jaws, it'll just clean you up big time. Get the thyroid, parathyroid cleaned out. Everybody will start functioning better. You'll start utilizing calcium, no more depression. Light will come on, the birds will chirp, everybody's happy. It feels like a period of stagnation right now. I know now. Stick up to fruits, berries, and that's it. Fruits, berries, and melons. Get rid of the veggies. I now know after I watched your channel that my lymphatic system is blocked and I really want to move this lymph. My adrenals are in need of regeneration. Yeah, baby. I might have problems with the pituitary gland. Maybe. As well as with the calcium in my body. Absolutely, sweetheart. I'm telling you, you guys are really getting smart. People like this is coming aboard here that's looking at this. Now find a remedy. And I just, the suffering of people is horrible. My nails are in batch. Of course, darling. Get that parathyroid going and those nails. When your nails are like rocks and claws, your bones are too. And connective tissue, I might add. The tissue that holds everything together. My nails are bad shape still, and I am losing a lot of hair. Expect that. Dr. Morris, as I live in Sweden, no herbs for Sweden. Oh, I wonder how can I post an order? Good question. Get it from another country, and then carry it in. I don't know, but you need to get on them and get on up there and do some of this work. Which phone number shall I call? Call the clinic here. It's either the 941-255-1979, or you can call Nature's Botanical Pharmacy, 766-8068. Either one. I want to start a great fast, and I wonder how to do that. Well, I would keep working up this road a little bit. I think you've got so much copious amounts of mucus. You go on a great fast, you could double that. So until that slows down, and if you already feel like it's slowing down and you need to dig deeper, go on a great fast, definitely. Just start off on it. You always start a fast by getting rid of the vegetables at least 3-4 days before you're going to fast. Well known. Get rid of the veggies 3 or 4 days, get them out of the bowels, get all that fiber out, be on fruits, and then jump off into just one fruit. And you'll have a perfect detox, and when you break your fast, add fruits, and then go to vegetables about the 3rd day. If you're going to add vegetables. If you're going to water fast, you just keep following that focus on up. Long extended fasts, water fasts, you want to break them on fruit juices first for the first couple of days, and then break down to the fruits, and then for 2 or 3 more days, and then as you feel you can handle a veggie or 2, you can do that. Is only grapes and water during these days? How many days in a row? That's up to you. I myself like 10, 20, 30, 40-day fasts. I would also want to contact you on Skype, by all means, my dear. Thank you for your, and thank you. Merry Christmas to you, Carmen. Merry Christmas. Good case, though. It's a good case, and I might add, a suffering one. So, sweetheart, get your, get on and get these glands up and running. That's really key to you, is get your glands turned on. Get out of that depression. And it's funny, all the signs and symptoms are there for any practitioner to see. But, if you don't have eyes to see, you don't see. And thank God you guys are getting eyes to see. I just love how you pick this up and you start to see really what's going on there. And now you got your remedy. You can fix yourselves. And I just love that. This planet has needed that so bad. Just needed it so bad. This is from Pam. Hi, thank you for responding to my question. I'd like to know how much fruit should I be eating for breakfast and lunch, or just throughout the day, so I know I'm eating enough for nutrition's sake. I have a tendency to undereat. Pam, you know what, sweetheart? I don't go by modern thinking, because that's a nowhere land place. And I say modern, allopathic basically, American Dietetics Associations, things like that. I think you should have, I'm a fan for eating as much as you want and as often as you want when you're just fruits, berries, and melons. Now salads fill you up. I just had a big salad with guacamole again. I try to have that about every lunch. And I won't be eating anything till later tonight, and it'll be mainly fruit. And that's, I don't feel the need. I get plenty of energy from other sources. And so it's not how much you eat. It's how much you digest, how much you absorb, how much you utilize, and then how much of the byproducts of all that are you getting rid of. That's what it's all about. When those are all done, and you're doing those good, your ingestion won't be near as much. because you don't need that much to sustain yourselves. Your higher consciousness floods the body with God force. So you've got lots of energy availability there. So I would say that eat all you want. Eat as much as you want. That's what I love about this. I was reading The Voice. What's her name? The pretty blonde. Boy, Christina Aguilera. Boy, can she sing. Holy crap. She looked like she's going on a raw food diet. So I bought this Star or whatever it is magazine. Story was in there. She said she's on fruits and veggies, but she's on proteins, and she got rid of the junk and blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, man, I thought maybe she went on a raw food diet. But she didn't talk about it. This is Manu. Dr. Morris, thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for writing in, my friend. I find it truly beautiful and very inspirational. Oh, thanks. Well, you know what? We have to turn that. We have to make this planet the way we want it, don't we? I mean, we're the ones. You know, a lot of people sit there and wait for God's hand to come down. Well, I have news for you. You're already God's hand. That's the point. Each and every one of you are the hand of God. Each and every plant is the hand of God. Each and every animal, the hand of God. You see? And that's what makes us all so beautiful and special. And I just love the fact that each one of you are uniquely you. And you want to be uniquely you. Socialism has never worked. It's okay for the herd, but you guys are not the herd. Thanks so much for the comments. I really appreciate this, dear one. I really want to become a healer someday. Well, work on yourself and make it so. The world needs good healers so bad. And you sound like you're going to be one of them. You already have that need to do that. I am a 26-year-old female. Oh, you're a female. 26 years old. Well, sweetie, I mean, I would say that most of the males probably won't stay on this channel. It's possible. Most of those souls that are going to stay on this channel are your spiritual people. Those that see themselves as having a little of both sides of the coin. They can identify with their female principles and their male principles both. So, but the female force is the healing force. And those I see more than males. So females are a shoe-in for healers. It's just this planet has built the male principle up, the acid principle up, and suppressing the female principle. And I'm not for that. The female, you know, I've always said in judges, a male federal judge, for the most part, not all you male judges are that way, but most male judges, given the stress of the IRS, will corrupt themselves. A few bucks. Females, not so much. When a female goes bad, the whole family goes bad. The whole worlds go bad. Because the female is the bonding force. It's where we look to the love principle. So, females, take your rightful positions and become the healers of the world, because that's where the love is. That's where the compassion is. It's always nice to have a female touch on you. Even if it's with a male that has female principles. The female principle in life is the healing principle, no matter what soul is using that force. Vegan and 80% raw in the way, what does it say? I am a 26-year-old female, vegan and 80% raw in the way to 100%. Excellent. I'm writing to you because I'm concerned about my health. I'm having a lot of emotional issues that I don't know how to deal with, and I believe they have been there since I was a kid. 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with slightly hypothyroidism. I'm currently taking 50 mm's of T4. Is that a T4? So that would that be armor? Are you on armor, natural armor? Last year I was diagnosed with stress. At that time I had lots of symptoms. Okay, so let's look at her symptoms here, but let's go back. First of all, she's 26 years old. Automatically, sweetheart, I can tell you, you've got to work on kidney and adrenals. Well, what's popping up first? Emotional, neurological problems. This is your adrenal glands for the most part. So there isn't any 26-year-old out there that I think that can stand up and say, I have healthy adrenals, unless they've regenerated that. So that's a shoe-in. What you have to look at is your adrenal glands. No question, I'm sure you're aware of that. Well, with them comes the kidneys. And with them comes the gigantic sewer system in the human body called the lymphatic system / immune system. Now here was her symptoms. Fatigue. Well, you can go to adrenals. You can go to thyroids. Now, you can go to Epstein-Barr virus. You can go to all these things. Those are easy to detoxify out of the body. Please. Let's get to the real issue. Adrenals and lymphatics. Why would a viral or bacterium or fungus hang around in the body? Virals we know are antigens, so they're really not really, I don't know how conscious they are as opposed to a bacterium, but they're magnetically polarized to weaknesses. So we know what they're for. But the terrain, your inner environment, is your host. So when our lymph system is backed up, our sewer system is backed up, why would we not expect to have bacterium increasing in activity? You would hope they would, because that's what the life is out here. Only medical doctors kill bacteria, as a rule. I mean, there are times I'll say, okay, but even with flesh, get this. Look at the flesh-eating bacterium. Now, you know immediately that if that's the case, you know what's wrong with this person right off. They have some genetic weaknesses in the skin, and this is common in the eyes. I'd love to see the eyes of those people involved with flesh-eating bacteriums. And the fact that these are proteolytic, meaning they're extremely acidic, their lymph systems are backed up, and antibiotics doesn't stop that much. We can. Now, nauseous. Now, that's interesting that she's getting nauseated. Well, we can go to pancreas. We could go more to the liver gallbladder, I think, for that one, or stomach. So we can look at that. Now, we also know the stomach deals with the autonomic nervous system. Fainting. Well, fainting. Cerebellum. So we know immediately this girl's lymphatic system's down. We know immediately because her kidneys and adrenals are down. We know that through her symptoms of fatigue. We also know that because she's 26 years old. And unless you come out of some super woman and man that, that came from another planet, you're right in the mix of all these things. Unless your parents are all islanders, you're going to always look at kidneys and adrenals. I'm here to tell you. Fainting, lack of concentration. So we've got a lot of acidosis, inflammation going on in the head area, don't we? Absolutely. So this is something to look at. Arrhythmia. That means tachycardia and feeling very depressed. So we're having arrhythmias. Tachycardia means fast pace. She probably has a little of Brady-Tachy syndrome where you go up and then you go down. Brady means slow, tach means fast. So when you take a look at that, feeling depressed too, I have a feeling she's more involved here, she's involved here, she's involved in the head area, lymphatically, full of inflammation, all these things. So definitely, I would myself move to a glandular for the thyroid for sure. I would definitely start moving my lymph system, sweetheart, getting my adrenals up, getting my kidneys filtering. Definitely work on your neurolymphatics down the back, cold appliques to just like the cases we talked about earlier. You're one of those creepers to this sort of thing. Fainting and stuff like that. Also could consider low blood sugar and low blood pressure. And that'd be another thing with the adrenals. Take your blood pressure on both sides. You've got a kidney and adrenals. So with blood pressure, you notice you have two numbers. You have systolic, top number, diastolic, bottom number. Top number, adrenals, bottom number, kidneys. Kidney and adrenals left side, kidney and adrenals right side. You have two different blood pressures. But then you've got this seat of the parasympathetic, which goes right to the stomach and controls heart, controls all this. But when that's inflamed, you see the swinging blood pressures. So I submit to you that you're in a stage of hyper-hypo where you're just moving down either from subacute to chronic. Generally in chronic stages we see all hypoactivity. But when you see in subacute stages, you can see hyper or hypoactivity, or a cross in between there. More stimulation as opposed to total suppression. So this is why you're going to see some of this in these cases. So this is nothing can help here but detox out of here and take a little a glandular popper for the thyroid. But I would submit that when you get real lightheaded, check your blood pressure and pop a blood sugar on yourself, because this would all be adrenals and kidneys, even the blood sugar. They gave me medicine, but I stopped taking it after 2 months and did yoga instead. A yoga girl. I like that. With the time most of the stress symptoms are gone, still have lots and lots of stress rings all over both eyes, radius solaris too. Here's a smart cookie. Well, I kind of, when you're saying that and you're 26 years old and you see all those nerve rings, sweetheart, you're going to keep working on those adrenals to get these nerve rings out of there. The radius solaris, of course, well, got to go after the bowels. Go after your GI tract. This will help to drain the sinuses and the head area. And so you got to go after the GI tract, adrenals, kidneys. You might want to give a little pop to the thyroid, parathyroid. In the meantime, try to get your sinuses draining with the raw foods and try to get out into some cold air. Maybe you'll catch a cold and flu-like symptom and really drain your sinuses. But mood swings remain. Horrible PMS. Well, your glands are down. I'd take the female reproductive, number one. That'll strengthen pituitary and the female organs. I would definitely go into my glandulars for adrenals and probably a little popper for the thyroid, just a short little one temporarily, and bring that up. I definitely would get my kidneys filtering and cleaning up my bowels to help cut these radius solaris out. Radius solaris are dark lines that emanate from your pupil out like rays of light, but they're rays of darkness. And that's just what they are, rays of darkness. They're black, they cut through the eye fibers, and they means nothing good. I call them toxic tunnels to the brain. So these are just, nothing good ever comes of these. And you can see brain lesions and things resulting from them. So she wants to get this out of her. So it sounds like, sweetheart, your glands are down. I think you're right on point here. Horrible PMS, sometimes with pain and depressive feelings. I think your thyroid, parathyroid is down. No question. You already see the thyroid down. I think your thyroid's down. And I have to say that we're probably hooking to the pituitary. I think if you'll see your radius solaris, if you have them, generally as a rule, one of them cuts through the pituitary always. So, you can work with a pituitary glandular. But try the female reproductive first and then move to a pituitary glandular after you've done the thyroid glandular. What I would do, depressive feelings that hit me so hard I feel like another person and can't stop crying. Oh, honey. Well, you know what? You just get yourself in balance. Try to conjure up as much self-discipline as you can and get these glands working. Get yourself on a program of wellness to where you can follow this program and go after this, and it'll turn your life totally around at 26. Guarantee it. We see this constantly out there, sweetheart. Get grumpy very easy, get tired and fatigued often, no kidding. Look at all the nerve rings. And look at the bowels and digestion. You're probably malabsorbed on top of that. So all these things, you got to fix them. You got headaches here, that'd be understandable. You got to fix that, clean up your gut, get your stomach cleaned up, get your sinuses drained, get the lymph draining out of the back of the head. Again, use your neurolymphatics, use your high fruit and berry diets, get on the herbs. Go after this. I would do upper circuit, brain, and nerve, by the way. These are good cases for upper circuit, brain, and nerve. I love those two because they will increase blood flow to the brain and they will enhance neural function. Love it. You can't go wrong doing those things. Sometimes I wake up with no energy to go out and do things. Adrenals and thyroids. And you have both of them down. and I feel I can't do anything without getting anxiety and stressed out. Well, you sound like your adrenals are really poo-pooed out. I definitely want to get the 400 milligram ones, and I'd probably want to take 2-3 times a day, because my guess is you're going to see extremely low blood pressure. There are some feelings I learned to control, but I believe most of them come from toxicity and genetic weaknesses. You sound like you're a right-on girl. Please help me with this. I want to be a more balanced and happy person. Loves, hugs, in deep South America. Yeah, baby. All right. So this is what go. And you're South America, you got the fruits, baby. So just go chug down on them. Get your focus that way with the diet. Think about getting into that body and going after your issues with the herbs. Get your kidneys, go after your adrenals, go after your whole endocrine gland system there. And you might, after you get down the road a few months, think about the gland tonic and just go on that for a while. And just have that slowly strengthen your endocrine glands. You want to always go after your bowels. Always go after those babies, because that'll cut those buds, the radius solaris. Get those adrenals, because that'll bring up your blood pressure, and eventually the myelin sheaths will rebuild, the nerve rings will go. And you just keep working that way and get yourself back to Wellville. If you need a parathyroid popper and a thyroid popper, do those together. Add a little kelp with that maybe. That'll give you the calcium and iodine for the thyroid, and parathyroid as well. So that's a good thing. And then just go on down that road that way. And you'll do well. And if you're in South America somewhere, honey, you got the fruits, baby, fruits. You have what we don't. So you'll be able to get this quite well. 26, you just work out these genetic weaknesses and clean your body out, sweetie. And thanks for the questions. Very good questions. This is Sam. Hello, Doc. So you've been talking about fruit and all, and how good for your health it is. I was wondering about homeless people. You and me both. How about the chow line full of canned food? We have a ton of homeless people around here because this is Florida. I went to see some of them in a shelter some time ago, and it broke my heart. No kidding. We brought them. We have a big problem with them in Tampa, and it's just a sad problem. It's just a sad problem. And I just look at our country. We're supposed to be this America's supposed to be a pace setter. Should be a pace setter in spirituality as well. But we're regressing. And I think, if anything, I hope this current government shows the people of the U.S. what not to do and what not to become, because it's already been tried, and yet we're falling in the same footsteps. This has already been tried. All this stuff that Obama's pulling out there already been tried and failed. Look around. So there's somebody pushing him. And has to be the world bankers, as far as I know, because no one else would be that stupid if it was for Clinton. But this is the problems. You know, your people get so adamant, especially when you elect these assholes, sorry, but they get so adamant about something, and it hurts everybody. I mean, it's just, we have to change the system of government in this country, because it's just not working the way it is. We're forming dictators. And it's like, oh my God. So maybe it's Rome, the fall of Rome coming? I don't know. All I got to say is that we have to learn to respect each other and help each other. That's for sure. And release all these people we have in jail for years over drugs, and let's help them. Let's understand spirituality. Let's understand more of life instead of follow the same cyclic, historic type of dark agey times. I was wondering what would be better for them. Eat whatever people give them, gluten and all that, or find grass, chew it to a swallow juice and spit it out. That's a thought. You know, there's a lot of food all over the ground everywhere, a lot of plants, just like you said, a lot of grass. You ever get lost or something, you got a lot of grass, you got a lot of leaves, you can eat a lot of things. Instead of looking for grub worms and crap like that, you know, one's mindset is an energetic experience, remember that. It's like those people that write and say they got to have meat. The only reason they got to have meat is this. And the same reason you see these survival men. You got to find a grow. I got to have protein because I need energy. Well, your body doesn't use protein for energy, guys. Got it in here. And yet there was one of the naked in the whatever it was, where they take a naked man and a naked woman and throw them on an island or something. She was a vegetarian. Matter of fact, They had one where they take a group of people, throw them way up in the woods in Alaska somewhere, or somewhere harsh like that, and let them fend for themselves. They have cameras, and they can get picked up. But there was a vegetarian lady. She was disgusted at what they had to do to kill. But then she realized where they were, and eating vegetarian up in Alaska would be an interesting trip. But I see there are people that do it. So it all can be done. I feel the same way you do. But of course it was non-psychological food, so I felt kind of guilty about that. I was wondering what would be better for them. Eat whatever people, grass, let's see, strength, energy to go through life in cold weather, or should they eat normal if they can't find the fruit? But then again, what if we bring them fruit and greens and they have a detox crisis on the street in winter and they have no help available? Sam. Sam. It's a mess, ain't it? I don't know what to tell you. I have to tell you that we make our own beds, but there's also people that are just so down, they need help so bad. And we throw money away in the United States from taxing all the wrong people and ripping off the private sector, which is the biggest fraud ever perpetrated by this government on its people. And we don't even help our sick. That's what impressed me about Portugal. It impressed me, I can't remember whether I was in France, can't remember what other country I was in. Impressed me of how they were dealing with their homeless and how they were dealing with their drug problems. And the government was actually supplying drugs and working with them in these parks. It was just so beautiful to see a government for the people, by the people, all of that good stuff. America's cold, baby. Unbelievable. This is from YouTuber Sovereignty. Let me see what this is. Sovereign Chi. I like that. I love your work. Thanks, man. Thank you a million times over. Appreciate this. They have two questions. The first question is, I have been practicing applied kinesiology, for over 8 years, with many protocols and herbal formulas employed to find areas of energetic weakness in the body by pressing on specific meridian outflow points, and then bringing into the biofield the balance agents that make these points strong. I have helped many gain back health, conceive babies, clear vaccination residues, and repair. Are you chiropractor? And repair and rebuild tissue, etc. Although I admit it can only take people so far. But still good. I mean, like I said, I was with a chiropractor when I first became a naturopath. He first graduated from Palmer, and we hooked up together, and we taught a lot of classes through those earlier years. And I learned a lot about kinesiology. Can't remember all of it, but I was highly impressed then. The herbal formulas and nutritional supplements I have used as balancers would not be what you recommend. Hydrochloric acid, some formulas with enzymes and probiotics, some isolates, and some other inert products like zeolites and such. And you're right. I often, upon the client's request, test what I would consider poorly made supplements and even pharmaceuticals. My question is, why does the energy field sometimes indicate these products are strengthening to the field when in fact, and I believe you, they are harmful? You know what? And it's a good question. I was doing a class once, and I had some candy. And I put it in this lady's hand, knowing that she was going to go weak, because I test this way. I test this way with muscle testing. That way, I've got a muscle they can't lie about. I can tell real easy. Not only do I feel it now, but in the earlier years, I wasn't so energetically feeling of other people's energy, which you got to be careful with that. But and so I put sugar in her hand, going to demonstrate to the class that sugar, the sucrose, is going to weaken her. And it strengthened her. And you know what I deducted from that myself? The sugar fed the fungus. And the fungus, so intimately imposed in the human body, had its reflex, of course, to the nervous system and muscles. That's what I think it was. So I think the same thing. I think that there's situations where some things are going to be good for the body in that moment. There are better things, no question. But in that moment, it's possible that that particular product is needed or would have a beneficial effect to that person, even though it might have some gnarly side effects to it. So I can't say. I think that I've seen that sort of thing with kinesiology where not always 100% accurate. And, of course, the energy field of the practitioner. You have to be as godly as possible. Because I think I told you about the Radhaswami guy doing polarity therapy. A room full of psychics. And he was talking about how if you care, you merge karmically with that person. Which is true. I mean, come here, give me a hug, baby. That sort of thing. You merge, in essence, with that individual. And a lot of times that energy is brought back to the practitioner and can affect the practitioner in a negative way. So all of these things, this is why one has to realize that as a practitioner, your clients are always going to be your friends. Because you're in the love side of life. And so you're just welcoming friends. If you've never met an individualized aspect of God before, okay, but you know God. So you know that individual. And so that's the bond. But you have to be careful about caring, desires. Because remember, your desires bind you to the object of that desire, even the desire to get someone well. So it's so captivating here in terms of keeping you in these lower levels that you have to become aware of, and it'll actually take you to the point of where you don't care about anything anymore. You just don't care about anything. Believe it or not, you've got to get there. But you've got to get there where you don't care because you don't want. You don't need. It is supplied because you have. You've absorbed. You know who you are. You don't need anything. So I eat a little to keep the body well. I'm not, our biggest problem is we live to eat. We got to change that. We want to live to experience each other, to experience the individualities and the fun things one can go play and do. The Disney World effect, so to speak. But you always got to keep yourself detached from that experience, or you're pulled into the experience. You get lost in it. And if you keep getting lost, you can't realize your greater self, who you really are. That's okay for those that want that. But a lot of you have the need to know. And there's a reason for that. My question is, what does the energy field sometimes indicate these products? Yeah, okay. Imbalance field. What is going on here? I believe the field does not lie, and I know AK works, so there must be something. Yeah, and I think it is, basically in that moment of need. But what's good, and I say this with herbs too, sometimes you go along and one formula don't need anymore. You just don't, body doesn't want it anymore. So it's nice to muscle test now and then on the herbs and see, But other than that, I can't tell you. And I'd hate to say that maybe, an energy coming from the practitioner in an unconscious way. I mean, this is why stepping out of that field zone, that's why when I'm feeling their energy, I'm watching their energy, when they pick up a bottle of something, I already can feel that. I go ahead and try to touch them so they can feel what it is, but I already can feel what it's doing to them. What I'm trying to do is not let it come into me too much. And so that's the other problem that we face is keeping our distance, energetically speaking. And I'm one of those guys, come give me a bear hug, baby. So, it takes its toll. So that's the only reason I can think, my friend. You must be a chiropractor. Regarding proteins, I understand and believe that you say about the body's challenge to break down proteins into their usable form amino acids. The direction I often read about is that the body needs the amino acids to build proteins, thus we require a broad spectrum of amino acids. Yeah, the complete amino acid crap. And that's taking tissue and making assumptions that you have to have it. Primates don't get it, herbivores don't get it, and they don't get complete amino acids, and yet they're the strongest animals on the planet. They're long-lived, I mean, we have to look at nature. We're making assumptions out of diagnosing flesh. We're making an assumption out of an already completed structure. And therefore, we make an assumption that we must have to have all the amino acids. And I'll tell you, it isn't true. I mean, you've got some frugivores out there that are so strong, so incredibly healthy, that would be dismissed in a heartbeat. So I will have to tell you, my friend, get rid of that one too, because that's ridiculous crap there ever was. Matter of fact, the main food is carbohydrates, if they haven't noticed. Medical doctors are just lost in this protein bullcrap. That's what keeps them medical doctors. As soon as they understand the truth is carbohydrates, they'll move away from that. And they'll understand that protein is an unusable form, and that amino acids, everything that has structure, and this one has a hell of a lot of amino acids. So I got rid of that thing. I had that too from school, but I got rid of that thinking real soon when I started detoxing people and started seeing what that meant. So I got away from that sort of thing. Just remember the primates, most of the animals do not get complete amino acids. That's ridiculous. If so, can you explain more thoroughly about what the body does to make tissue proteins to utilize amino acids as you teach it? Well, that's a good question in that response. All I can say is we've got biological transmutations. And I can't say that we know all about that. I remember that was introduced by, what's his name? I got his book here in the earlier 1900s. And I did hear where there are some amino acids that are formed from glucose. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I just think scientifically we are still at the ass end of the donkey. I think there's so much we don't understand about biological transmutations, the true need of the human body. But I think if we have any source to look to, we have to make it nature, not man. Man's mind is a conditioned instrument out of nature, but out of what we perceive. And those perceptions are based upon awarenesses. And those awarenesses is based upon the individual spirituality. Now, when the Constitution was formed in America, they were Constitution from the Ben Franklins and those spiritual guys. If you read the document, you'll start to see the spirituality in it. But, the opposite is also true. So, again, the mind and its opinions. I would say look at nature. Because you can walk up to any orangutan any day of the week and say, you don't get complete amino acids by far. Matter of fact, less than most. And how come you can rip my head off? See, that's the thing. Some of the idealisms, the mental images, do not fit the actualities of nature. I put my money toward nature, and I've proved this through all the healing that you get. So I have to dismiss that, and not saying that I understand it completely, but I know it's erroneous. And I think you do too. So appreciate that, though. This has got to be a chiropractor, because this is just what chiropractors are taught too, to tell you the truth. And I had trouble with the chiropractor I was with for a while because he thought if you fasted, your proteolytic enzymes would eat your own self up. Well, I never seen anybody get eaten up after 40-some days of fasting. But, you know what? I believe in balance and carrying your way. But I do not believe in the protein myth whatsoever, or the complete proteins. I think that's ridiculous. I see we are carbon prints. We're carbon beings. This is the main energetic factors of this planet. Always has been, always will be. I think secondary to that could be, and I've always questioned myself, secondary to sugars, are we fatty acids or are we amino acids? I'd probably say amino acids simply because a lot of them are simply used as carriers. Once your structure, and you have to ask yourself, let's go back to the fertilized egg for a minute. How does the fertilized egg start building the embryo or start growing without a lot of connection? For a while there's no connection to the parent. And so the cell is forming on its own. How does that happen? And you've got to understand awareness and consciousness and what drives matter to understand those things. And so we're still fumbling with questions like this, which I know is legitimate questions, but they've been circulating around and around for so many years, and yet in clinical work, my friend, we've proved that that is erroneous. That in clinical work, we can get people to Wellville on just what we've been doing and without the proteins. We take them off of even the nut proteins. So whether you come back on them a little bit, okay, I don't care. But it's just what we see here, which is interesting, which really should blow the minds off of our American dietetics thinking, our scientific thinking, because there's other thoughts of science. Remember, there's many thoughts of science. Here's a good one, the B12 thought. There's two fields of thought on this. So you've got all these fields of thought. I say let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. Then you say, okay, that's what all other animals do. All right, next. All right, what body are you wearing right now? You've got 4 vertebrae. Are you an omnivore? Are you a herbivore? Are you a carnivore? Or are you a frugivore? Well, that's easy. Just go dissect one, kill one. You don't have to. We already have done that. So we can look at the anatomy and the physiology of all these different species, the 4 vertebrae, and to tell you the truth, there's only one that comes razor close to us. That's the frugivores. We are acting omnivorish, no questions. But even when you look at the omnivores, very few omnivores eat the level of protein Homo sapiens do. It's amazing. Homo sapiens eat more protein than most omnivores. What the hell is that? More than bears? More than... absolutely. Now dogs, if you can get them to the herbivores better. Actually, they'd actually look better as a frugivore. But I will say that in terms of bowel length, we more match the omnivore than we do the herbivore. Herbivores have real long digestive tracts and generally multiple stomachs. So that would be a question arising on vegetable matter and its value to a short-length intestined vertebrae. But, you can argue all these things out. But I think in clinical work, that's where we see actualities and what's going on. Then we look at nature and compare. Because I use nature now as my barometer. I don't use man. Man is insane. This is from Brittany. Recently, I've had but thanks for the questions. I really appreciate that, man. Good questions. Everybody's got good questions here. Recently, I've had my protocol reviewed by a practitioner. It was a protocol I gave myself off of the video reading you gave me of my eyes. Thank you. So one thing arose with the glandulars. He said I should not be taking the pituitary with a thyroid or parathyroid glandular as this is too hot and can burn the glands. If you could address this, I would be most grateful. Oh, this is meta. I'd like to know who told you that. If it's one of our guys, let me know and I'll talk to him. I have used the pituitary with the thyroid before. I definitely have. In real hypofunctions, I've definitely used the pituitary with the thyroid and parathyroid before I have. As a rule, I'll do thyroid, parathyroid together, and the adrenals. I'll use 3 glandulars. I'll do the adrenals always, without thought, because of the chronicness that we're facing. Holy crap. And then you've got thyroid and parathyroid. I generally run those 2 together with some kelp. And I do that for 1 month. I try to do a bottle or 2 of each one, and then I go right on over. I DC those, stop those, and I go right to the pituitary, and I either do the pituitary, or I reverse it. I do the pituitary first, and then I do the thyroids later. So it just depends what I see the worst. If I see an old lady with the menses irregular and all this, I'm going to do the pituitary for the first month or so. That's all you need. A couple times a day, 1 and 1, maybe 1 bottle of pituitary, little bitty thing. And then I'm going to go from there, I'm going to go to thyroid and parathyroid with the kelp. And I might do 2 bottles of each one. Then I'm going to back off. I'm going to check my basal temperatures. I'm going to see if everything's right. I'm going to keep with my adrenal glandulars because you can work on those babies till hell freezes over. But all these other glands, they come up pretty easy. I'm going to check my basals. I'm going to regulate my thyroids with that. If my basals are up there doing good, I'm going to come off of that, see if it holds. Because the idea is to get these glands functioning and then stay away from them. Let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. You're eating your nutrition. You're eating your power. But you must first fix digestion, absorption, utilization, and elimination. These are key essentials that one must do. So thank you so much for that, Brittany. Robert, let me see. I'm so grateful for you. Oh, thanks, sweetheart. I appreciate that so much. This is Chantel. I've always been into alternative healing. Yeah. And herbs, although alternative healing. Now, we must replace that. We must all stand firm, Chantel, that we are traditional. We have been around. China still uses it. India still uses it. Most countries still use herbology as their traditional medicine because we were here first. Sorry. We've got thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Chinese medicine goes back 5,000 years. Uh-oh. Ayurvedic at least the same. So we've had so much time on the planet. Allopathy's a new kid on the block. It's alternative. It's radical. It should only be used when you can't find remedy any other way, then you're going to need a surgeon. If you can't fix yourself here, you're in trouble. And you're going to need a surgeon or something to help you, because if we can't get you, you're in trouble. And that's the point, is that general practitioners should fix you well before you need surgery and identify it right off. And then as a child can do the iridology with your family and fix you. By the time you grow up, you're done. You're good. That's what we need. We need general practitioners like you guys that can fix people. And then if they do have a trauma or something, they need surgery, okay. Stuff like that. We don't wait until the uterus has to be taken out or the appendix explodes. We don't wait to those things. Because as a practitioner, you're helping your clients, your families and all that, and their families with their children as well. Better. I've always been into alternative healing and traditional healing, absolutely. And herbs, although I've taken antibiotics 3 times this year, I'm not happy about it. Well, you know, they scare us sometimes, and sometimes, you know, it just might be something to back down the roar, because sometimes those guys get a little feeding frenzy going on, and they forget. I'm working on healing my BV, bacterial vaginitis. Okay, I just got it again. Here's the thing. Remember that the vaginal wall is just a bunch of cells and 2 fluids. And that you're having a kidney and adrenal problem, sweetheart. And this is what you got to look at. You've got to fix your kidneys and your adrenals. You've got to get this lymph filtering from that vaginal wall through the kidneys. That's key essential. Now, I developed the Heal All Tea for this problem. I would start douching with it. And if it's real bad, maybe twice a day. But generally once an evening, you make yourself some tea, get it skin temperature, and then insert it. And insert it several times while you allow this to clean. And try to get it up as high as you can up inside there. And I use this for atypical cells constantly, converts them right back to healthy cells. So very important is not bacteria. You're thinking wrong. Terrain. Your terrain, you're offering a culturing medium in the vaginal wall. Why? Lymph stagnation. This is coming interstitially, sweetheart. So this is your lymph system, and it gets you there. And then all the other female problems, ovarian cysts can come and go, uterine fibroids, fibrocystic breast can even come out of this, endometriosis. So you gotta fix this one. Decay of the vaginal wall, the cervix. And this is all about acids. So then cervical cancer, uterine cancer, vaginal wall tumors, blah, 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 blah. Don't go there, sweetheart. Don't go there. Get yourself on raw, get yourself detoxified, get those kidneys filtering, number 1, uno, and then do your douching as well. And this will help clean. And when you see this coming, apply douching. Do it for about 2 weeks. Give yourself a break. If you feel like you need any more, which should clean it right up. If you feel like that's coming again, do it again. Keep cleaning until your terrain, your interstitial fluid, your lymph fluid is hydrated and filtering through your kidneys, and that won't happen again. All right? Very key to do this, for all the other things can pop up here. I've tried oregano oil. Nope. Tons of probiotics. Nope. And this is a good example why I don't use these guys. Because nobody's helping this girl. They're all off point. They're trying to treat this problem. You can't treat apple cider vinegar douches. Heal all T-vuses. Get the power of the herb in there, baby, and you'll see a whole different thing. You don't douche with apple cider vinegar, but it was a thing. It was a thing. No. And yogurts. Oh, my God. People had women douching with yogurts. And medical doctors, too. It's like, oh, no. That's why herbs. That's why teas. The power of herbs. Some of the herbs in there are cancer herbs. Some are mucosa herbs. There's all kinds of herbs in that tea for you. There's antibacterial herbs in there. But that's not what you're worried about. You notice how you keep having this problem over and over again? You kill the bacteria in your body, you'll get yourself in trouble, especially if you kill them in your lymph nodes. And when you take antibiotics, it's not local, it's systemic. That's what they don't get. If you had to use local antibiotics, okay. But we use systemic. And this is just why we're in the problem. We're ignoring the terrain. Why is the bacteria involved in the first place, or fungus? Why? You got to go to the whys. You got to fix the whys. Causative factors, remember that. And you got to fix this one, honey. She's done probiotic suppositories, and that's what I'm saying. This is why, guys, you might call me an old fuddy-duddy. That's why I don't recommend probiotic, why I don't make digestive enzymes. I don't recommend any of this crap. Get yourself in trouble, doesn't work, blah, 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 and it's the wrong focus. You get the right focus, and you'll have your remedy, and you'll be a new woman, and you'll feel good. And so, clean and strengthen, clean and strengthen, clean and strengthen. Very important for you at this time. You're going to start popping atypical cells if you haven't already. And that's where you separate the men from the boys. You're walking too far down the acid road. So stop now and do just what we're talking about here, and you'll do well. This is a common issue, very common. I cut out sugar, not all fruits, and alcohol. I've also added extra folic acid, vitamin C. I wouldn't. Vitamin C is antagonistic to vitamin or calcium. Not good. Your flavonoids, that's the whole vitamin C, which is just a little complex of flavonoids. Bioflavonoids, you've heard of those? It's all flavonoids. Get on your fruits and berries. That's where you get all the goodies here. I've also been taking reishi. What am I missing? You're not focusing on the terrain. You're not focusing on your lymph system. You're not focusing on the cause of this at all. You're trying to treat it with things that have no remedy. I like the oregano oil thing. Amish are high in oregano oils. And I remember when I was up in Shipshewana back in October, there was a guy talking just before me on oregano oil. And he was getting into cancers, and the cancers are just fungus, and you use the oregano oils. And I couldn't help myself. I just bit my tongue. I got up there and, said, and I've never done this. I got up there and I said, guys, this guy is delusional. I said, you can use oregano oil till hell freeze over, which most of you are already doing. And if you blame cancer, the mutation of a cell, on fungus, you're delusional there too. And I mean, I'm sorry about this guy, but it was like this guy blamed everything on fungus, and oregano oil cures everything. And that's the problem. You get guys like that, practitioners, well-respected practitioners, that emanate stuff like this. That's ignorance. And that shows that this is not a good practitioner. And that's a problem. So this is, again, we got to learn about acid. We got to learn about chemistry a little bit, not much. Most of you already, guys, are a cut above all these other people. You get it. You just, I love you guys. But you see what we're up against? And she just lays this out perfectly for me. This is my total argument of why I don't recommend these things of probiotics, digestive enzymes, and stuff like this. Chantel, you're a perfect case of why I have this argument. What are you missing? You're missing out on the focus on what's causing this. You're missing out on everything. You're over here playing in the fields that you're trusting people, which I don't blame you. You're female, you're good heart, everything's good. You're trusting people, but you're playing over here and your problem is over here. You'll never get this fixed doing that. You got to walk on this side. That's where you're going now. And that's where you'll get your remedy. I'm telling you, I have this problem in my sleep. Maybe I haven't been as consistent or patient. No. It's just not something a woman wants to deal with, but I am willing to do with what it takes to really heal. And you got to do this for her. You don't want to go any deeper. None of the stuff you're doing is working right for you. Wrong focus. Go away from this side and get on this side. And you're on the right side. And you're on the side of truth, sweetheart. Fix this up. We get this in here all the time. Common stuff. But You Facebook people, what is it telling you about her? It's telling you that she's probably in low blood pressure. She probably has weak kidneys, no question. Her lymph system is not filtering. So now you can probably in time have hip problems in her, maybe knee problems. You're going to see ovarian cysts come and go with this case probably. She's up for uterine fibroids, endometriosis. Of course, along with that, the whole systemic effect of fibroids or fibrocystic breasts, lupus Lyme's, go down those roads, the fibromyalgia roads. You can go down any of those roads. But she's definitely walking down the cervical cancer road, vaginal wall cancer road. And this is why she has to turn around. All these things are treatment-based thinking. None of them works. And that's why, you're writing the letter. So it's enough to say that you got to get this tea. That's why I made the tea. Trust in the herbs, baby. Those are the power. And they will help clean and reverse any cells that are damaged. Now, you have to understand this is interstitial. And you need to start filtering through your kidneys, Chantel. You get your kidneys filtering, check your urine for sediment, get your adrenals up, make sure your blood pressure is close to 120 as you can. Build up your nervous energy and stuff like that. And clean the bowels out, clean the kidneys out, and get your health back. And you'll do that. It's not difficult. This has never been a difficult problem, but it is a reflection of a much deeper systemic problem called interstitial lymphatic constipation, baby. And that's what we don't want. That all leads to nothing good. Think of inflammation, think of pain, think of cancer, think of all those things that you see as an outpour of that. I've got one more here, and this is Josh. Hey, Josh. Dr. Morris, I'm very much enjoying your book and videos. Oh, thanks, Josh. Appreciate that. You try hard. I've been doing this all my life, and when I see cases like here where these people are, this poor girl, like for example, are doing all these things, putting more bacteria up her, putting vinegars up her, all the other things. It's like, come on, we've got to grow out of this thinking. This isn't as dark agey as medical thinking, but it's back there. We are the light of the new times, and it is on point. It's truth. And if you follow it and get focused, you'll get your remedies, and you'll stay clean, and you'll know why. All right, I have a cousin-in-law with familiar adenomatosis polyposis. I'm sure I pronounced that wrong. This is supposed to be a rare genetic disease, so just in case you have not heard of it, the Mayo Clinic defines it as, the Mayo Brothers. Let's see, what did the Mayo Brothers say? That only 20% of medical diagnosis is accurate. What? The Mayo Brothers said that? They've got a long name here. It's a rare inherited condition that causes extra tissue polyps to form in your large intestines. Don't they just say polyps in the intestines? No. This is polypopus. But it's polyps in the large intestine and in the upper part of your small bowel, duodenum. If untreated, meaning removed, the polyps in the large intestine almost always become cancerous by age 40. Most people with this, whatever you want to call this problem, polypocytosis, eventually need surgery to remove the upper part of the large intestine, colon, to prevent cancer. Let's just remove the colon for prevention, boys. Like the idea. I hated to poop anyway. The polyps in the duodenum can also develop cancer, but they can usually be managed by removing them regularly. Okay. Now, he's in his mid-20s. Mid-20s popping polyps off the intestinal wall. And the doctors are already scheduling him for surgery. They already removed most of his dad's colon, and his grandma died from it in her 30s. Have you had any clients with this dis-ease? Love your little trick, Josh. Absolutely. I assume, didn't know the name. I assume, especially this long, I assume that you would say it can be fixed with diet and detox, but I wanted to make sure before talking to him. Well, I think you should let him see this video. Also, I have a 68-year-old grandma-in-law with chronic lymphocytic leukemia. I have seen another of your other videos about leukemia, although this kind is a little different. Would you say that this could be curable as well? Totally so. Totally so. Absolutely. Notice how they do this lymphocytic. Notice how they link this blood disorder, or blood cancer as some oncologists calls it. Is it a cancer or is it a blood disorder? And how it's linked to the lymphocytic. How it's linked to the lymph system. Absolutely. Because most cancers are, unless you're a fireman in a chemical fire, or you're inhaling chemicals that damages your blood cells, some of your immune cells, of course you're into spleens. You're into either, with leukemias, you're either into spleens or bone marrows, generally as a rule. So the two things that are always off are white blood cells and platelets. Okay. Fix those areas. Bone marrow being the worst, no question. So in low white blood cells, you can think of bone marrow. High white blood cells, think of spleen. And generally, you'll see a diagnosis with inflammatory spleen problems. Now, polyps. Let's say, did you ever have a pimple? Did you ever have a boil or a sty on your eye? I drank so much milk growing up, I would pop these styes on my eyes. I didn't know what the hell they were. I'm a kid. So I'm saying, what are these huge boils coming out on my eyes? Why do I have granulated eyelids? Why do I have so much flaky skin and rosacea? What the hell was that? As I drink my milk. Yeah, that's why if I can help any of you guys not suffer, please let me do that. Because it's just not worth suffering for ignorance. But think of this as a pimple on the side of the colon, and they're talking probably, I don't know if they're talking internal or external. They didn't stipulate. Because you can grow them off the side of it or on the inside of them. Why would they be so dangerous? Because they are lymph nodes. These are tumors. I mean, they can call them polyps, but let's be truthful. They're little tumors. Or tumors are what? A pocket of fluid, right? What fluid would you think would be in a polyp, a tumor, a boil, a cyst, or a pimple? What two fluids dominate the human body interstitially around all the cells? Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. Yeah, I got it. Blood and lymph. Interstitial fluid. Pop one of these and you'll see a little blood and a lot of lymph, a lot of pus. When it's in the lymph nodes and you get these stones out, that's lymph. That's all lymph. But in these tumors, it's a swelling, a herniation, if you will. And believe this or not, they can pop up anywhere. They're on the kidneys, they're on the adrenals, they're on the ovaries. They can pop these cysts or polyps are in the thyroid glands. It's common to hear them remove thyroids because of polyps. Where are they coming from? The lymphatic system. Come on. They even draw this conclusion for you right here. So, you've got to get your lymph system moving. If you want to get rid of polyps, reversing the way you're forming them would be intelligent, wouldn't it? Removing them would mean you would only get more. So, instead of fixing why you get polyps, we'll take out your whole colon. You'll never have to worry about it again. Of course, you'll hear when the stuff goes into the bag and it'll get a little stinky at times. God, I mean, this is interstitial lymphatic constipation at its best. Increasing herniations, and that's common stuff. Both external and internal on the intestines. But you got the same things in the thyroids. So it's just about lymph. And yes, do I think it's very curable. Not their disease thing here. I don't think that's curable at all. I can't even pronounce it. But polyps are, tumors are, cysts are you have to reverse why you're getting them. Does that make sense? And that's all sensible. But if you don't understand the lymph fluids, if you don't understand filtration from your kidneys of the lymph sewage from cells, and you don't understand how all that works, you would not understand that. And that's the problem with allopathy. They forgot what is the kidneys really used for. And even if their own professors didn't teach them, wouldn't you think if you were a renal specialist you would learn it after a while on your own? Unless you were mentally driven, academically driven, to where you couldn't think outside of your academic training. We call that conditioned state of mental conditioning. It's conditioning. And that's the problem. We believe what our professors say. Professors are good, but they're not all-knowing. They're taught by books themselves. They're taught by other professors themselves. One professor becomes another professor, and where do we pick it up? Out of our scientific jargon of those that have theories on this side and those that have theories on this side. We want actualities. And actualities come when you get away from that mentalness, that conditioned state of thinking that only ties you to what you've been taught. You can't think outside of the box, as they say. And when you can't think outside of the box, simply means you can't see or be aware, not think, because you can't think outside of the box. Thinking is a process that takes your attention away from you. So when you're outside of thinking, then you can see truth. But if you're in thinking, you're in conditioning, and you can't see truth. That's their problem. And very few, physicians are willing to think outside of the box. And then the AMA, I'm sure, probably ties a noose around a lot of them with that. So anyway, these are polyps. Goes to say that kidneys, adrenals must be working on this person. You must get these polyps out of here, because it definitely goes to bowel cancer. Always when you see tumors do. Same thing with polyps in the thyroid, goes to thyroid cancer, because you're highly acidic, your lymph is infiltrating out of those tissues, and they're burning you. And they will burn until cells convert. We call it atypical before that. None of these two cases should be difficult at all to find remedy. You might be working on the bowel one, because there's 27 foot of bowel, and there's kidneys and adrenals to worry about, and there's all these things to worry about. You just got to get your people filtering. The lady with the leukemia shouldn't be difficult. It just depends whether it's bone marrow. If she has real low white blood cells, then she's going to be fighting, but there's no reason she can't build her bone marrow up, get these acids out of the body that's doing that. Remember how simplistic that is. Because there is no third side of chemistry. There is no third major fluid of the human body, unless you call water a major fluid of the human body. So, it's been good. I have to cut off now. And tomorrow is Christmas Eve, isn't it? You probably will not get these videos probably till the end of the week, so I apologize for that. But I love you guys. Keep these great questions coming. I think they're great for the Facebook fans. I think they're great for all of us that are practitioners, that are learning and growing from these questions. I think it's real important. So there's no stupid questions. You guys ask some very important questions. I also love what I'm seeing with your own awarenesses of these things. I love that. You guys are getting it, and you couldn't have done more for your life than getting this, and especially the spiritual side. That takes you well past this world. I love you guys, and if I'm not probably going to be able to see you for Christmas except through where? Watch your dreams. Santa might come in funny disguises. I'll see you guys. I love you all so much. You've done so well on yourselves. Thanks for the great questions. Have great holiday fun, and I'll see you as soon as I can on the next video. And maybe here's a big cyber hug for all you guys out there. Dimitri, Josh, all you guys tearing it up, you great souls. Thanks for the dates and the great pairs. Oh my God, I love you all. Thanks for your love. You've got mine back at you, 100%. And all my little friends, big friends, they help too. They're all around you all the time. You have so much care and love around you. Some of you guys might not realize who's all helping you. So we love you all. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.